from high places. In this experiment, we're going to be making egg parachutes. Essentially, our goal is to drop an egg from a high place, and we're going to build a carrier for that egg so that as it's dropped and as it hits the ground, the egg will not break. Sounds like a fun challenge. It's going to be awesome. The only thing you need for this challenge is going to be obviously an egg. We're not going to boil our eggs, so they're just going to be straight from the carton eggs, totally breakable. And really any craft supplies that you can find around your house or the store. We'll probably use a mixture of pipe cleaners, probably some tissues, cotton balls, pair of coffee filters, string, anything you can find around that you think will be great to help cushion your egg so it doesn't break. But let's back up for a second. What does throwing eggs off of roofs have to do with science? Actually, it has to do a lot. Isaac Newton is the guy who he's known for creating 3 laws of motion. And he actually created an egg drop to help discover 2 of these laws of motion. It's the first law, which is also called the law of inertia, and it states that an object will stay in motion unless an external force acts upon it, and the object will stay at rest unless an external force acts upon it. So let's talk about this for a second. Let's say we have a ball. I don't have a ball here with me. I don't actually own any sports balls. But let's say we have a ball. Let's say we have a soccer ball, okay? And let's say I'm holding the soccer ball. That soccer ball is going to stay at rest in my hands unless an external force, like my hands, act upon it. So it's going to stay here at rest in my hands unless I throw the ball in the air, unless I drop the ball, unless I throw the ball at you or whatever it is. Same principle is, let's say I kick the ball. I kick the soccer ball. Newton's law of inertia, or first law of motion, states that that ball will continue to fly through the air once I kick it unless something stops it. Now, common sense says usually the thing that's going to stop it is like a goalie or a goal or a window at your house or a wall or something of that sort. But in reality, that's not necessarily always the case, because let's say that I'm standing in the middle of a giant field and there's not a goalie or a soccer goal within miles of me. And let's say I kick that ball as hard as I can. Does Newton's law of inertia say that the ball will keep flying through the air until it hits a random person or object? No, actually. That ball is going to eventually fall to the ground and roll to a stop. But does rolling to a stop break Newton's law of inertia? No, because actually you have gravity that's pushing the ball toward the ground, and you have air resistance that's forcing the ball to slow down. So gravity and air resistance combined force the ball to roll to a stop. And those are external, those count as external forces. Gravity and air resistance count as external forces to force that object to roll to a stop. So once again, Newton's first law of motion, or law of inertia, states that an object will be in motion unless an external force acts upon it, or an object will be at rest unless an external force acts upon it. Now, our egg drop also talks about Newton's second law of motion as well as velocity. Newton's second law of motion says that the larger, let me go back to my notes. Says that the larger the object is, the more force will be required to accelerate it or decrease it. So, once again, one day you're going to learn how to drive. It's a great thing, driving. One thing you're going to learn in your driving classes is that when you're driving down the road, and let's say you see a stop sign ahead, or you see traffic coming up on the interstate, or whatever it is, you're going to learn that there is a certain time when you have to start putting the brake onto your car so to give your car enough time to slow down so it doesn't crash. Why? Well, our cars are actually huge and they're crazy heavy. No person can lift a car by themselves. Okay, it's so super heavy. So according to Newton's second law of motion and velocity, it says that the larger the force, the larger the object, like a car, the more force is required to accelerate or decrease it. So the larger the car you drive, let's say you're driving a semi, usually semis, they have to start pressing on the brake a lot sooner than normal cars, like I drive a Corolla, so semis are gonna have to start putting the brake onto their truck a lot sooner than I would on my Corolla, because a semi is larger, like a million times larger than my car, and so it's heavier, and so it requires more force and longer time of stopping than my smaller car of a Corolla. I know it's kind of confusing because you guys can't drive yet, but let's talk about, once again, the ball, okay? Let's talk about what we're talking about. So this is going to be talking about velocity. So let's say we kick the ball into the field, and we already know that gravity and air resistance are external forces, and they slow the ball down. But Newton's second law says that as the ball is rolling to a stop, the air force, the air resistance against that ball is increasing, which means it's getting stronger against that ball the slower it's going, the slower it's rolling to a stop. So essentially, it is the air resistance and it's the gravity working together to roll the ball to a stop. So once again, you're watching the World Cup on TV, and you see these amazing soccer players kick the ball, and it just flies across the field, and like they're crazy strong. And let's say then it just no one gets the ball, so it kind of rolls to a stop on the field. The slower that ball is going, the stronger the air resistance is pushing against that ball to continue slowing it down until it finally rolls to a stop. So the slower you go, the more air resistance is coming against you. Make sense? Okay, that's a lot of science. But essentially, this is also going to work in our egg drop, because we're going to make an egg. We're going to make an egg drop, where we're going to make an egg parachute object thing. Our goal for this experiment is we want to drop our egg from a really tall place. Please ask your parents before you drop your egg. You want to make sure wherever it is you're dropping your egg, it is safe. Your parents know about it. Preferably your parents are there to make sure you stay safe. You're not going to hit anyone or anything breakable. Just make sure your parents know you're doing this experiment and have your permission first, please. Thank you very much. But your goal for this experiment is to create, like I said, a cradle for your egg. So you're going to drop it from a high place, and you want your egg to not die, to not be cracked to the end. So according to Newton's first law of motion, not law of inertia, that egg cradle is going to stay at rest until we drop it. And when it drops, it will continue to drop unless an external force acts upon it. Our external force is the ground, clearly the ground. According to velocity, it is the slower the egg is falling through the air, the more air force, the more air resistance is pushing against the egg to continue to keep slowing it down. Also, the larger the object, then it needs more time to slow down. So if you make like a giant air cradle for your egg, I don't really suggest doing it, but if you decide to do it, you might need a taller drop to drop it from. It's up to you. But I want you guys to play around with the law of inertia, with velocity, with air resistance, with gravity, with force, while making your egg cradle. And I hope you guys enjoy watching me and Amy Kay from South Branch, and hopefully a couple other people from Thornton Library make our egg cradles and drop them. But I will see you guys again later. Hi everyone! Alright, so as you can tell, it is me and Amy, and like I said earlier, we are going to make a egg drop. We are going to prove Newton's law of inertia and velocity and talk about all the sciencey terms. So our goal is we each have 2 eggs. We're both going to make a different design for both of our eggs, and we'll see what happens. Yep, go for it. Let's go for it.
this is what happens if you have absolutely no padding for your protection of the egg. Alright, so for my first contraption, I have my egg wrapped in sponges and cotton balls and a hoopable parachute that will hopefully we will see if it works. So, should I go higher?
I'll go higher. I won't do it.
I'm going to probably take it back. Okay.
There's a tree ahead of us, so there's almost so far.
Alright, so, yeah, the parachute's not going to work because it's too short, but... Okay. Should we go and open it? Yep. So, we'll see.
Lost some cotton balls.
Lots of cotton balls. But they did so much I can't get it open.
I'm gonna have that exact same problem. I'm gonna have to take apart my entire thing.
We should have
to get to the egg.
brought some scissors with us. I think my egg is still perfectly.
Oh,
Oh
nope.
no, that's
It's leaking out the bottom.
That broke.
That definitely broke. But did it break just now or did it break when it landed? I wonder.
don't know. That's definitely gooey.
That did not work. Okay, well, we will try my second experiment, which is this contraption. I don't know if I made it right.
Hold it a little bit further out because last time it almost hit the thing.
That one is still 100%. Oh, no, nope. Dang it!
Nope.
Okay, mine failed.
Aww.
Mine failed. That's okay.
We are 0 for 2.
All right, Amy.
Alright, let's see if mine fare any better.
Tell us what's in yours.
For number 1, it's actually pretty similar to Amy Carlson's second one. We've got the egg, we've got some straws, but my egg is sort of insulated. So let's see if that makes a difference.
Yeah, I tried to insulate mine with cotton and obviously did not work.
How high?
I did the second step because the tree.
Just the second step?
I mean, you could try going to third, but the tree.
Oh, I just want to be on whatever step you were on.
Then that, yeah, that
this
was
step?
fine. Yeah.
Okay. It went sideways. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to get into this.
Just wrap it like you're wrapping a Christmas present. And you just kind of tear into it.
But like, okay. I don't want to break the egg getting it out. That would be sad.
I think that's what I did with my first one, honestly. I think because I pushed down on the sponge when I was trying to open it up. Don't worry, boys and girls. We're gonna make it up at some point today. What did you put in this thing?
It's just plastic bag and paper towel. Oh, it cracked.
Oh.
My egg cracked. All right, our last hope is this is a bag inside a bag, and both bags are full of popcorn.
I'm kind of ready for this one, honestly.
I'm kind of rooting for it too. 1. I don't want to do sideways. 1, 2, 3.
That didn't sound good.
No, it did. That sounded actually perfect. Let's see.
Where did you find the idea for popcorn?
So here's the science behind the popcorn, which I'll sound really dumb if it doesn't work, but there is science behind the popcorn. You know, like when you send a package through the UPS or through the post office, there are packing peanuts inside that package. And the space between the packing peanuts absorbs the shock, which is why when you mail something through the mail, it doesn't arrive broken, because the empty space absorbs the shock.
packing peanuts, correct?
It's a little buttery, but we have an egg!
Yay! All right, thank you guys for joining us